everybody. So happy that you've joined us live for After 83 Weeks. We are going to give you the opportunity to talk to the Eric Bischoff. Ask him anything you would like. Of course, this week on 83 Weeks, he and Conrad talked all about Dean Malenko's storied career. And you can ask anything you'd like about that. We're also going to cover the week's top pro wrestling news and talk a little bit about where we've all been this week. Let's see the crew. Adam, Steve, and George are here with me. Hey, guys.
Howdy.
Wait, howdy.
Hold on. Is it Dean Malenko or Dean Malenko?
Ooh. Oh, come on now. Let's give our big introduction to the man of the hour, whose name we absolutely know how to pronounce, two-time WWE Hall of Famer, Eric Bischoff, with a CH.
It's
Hello,
Dean
sir.
Malenko. Malenko.
Oh, wow.
Not Malenko, like a link in the fence. All one would have to do is spend about 45 minutes in the third grade, take a class called phonetics, probably doesn't even exist anymore, and one could look at the spelling and probably get that name right 98.3 or 4% of the time.
I've been saying it wrong.
Malenko.
I've been saying it wrong for almost 30 years then.
Phonetics is your friend. Phonics.
Well, now
Phonics
you know.
is your friend.
To be fair, English is like the worst language to be talking about phonetics. Or phonics.
Okay, let's move on from this, G-Herm. You can do your studying at another time because we have got a chat roll here full of fans who have got questions for Eric. Oh, it's Brett's Groovy Chainsaw's first time here. Welcome. Make sure you guys all hit that big red subscribe button if you are watching on the 83 Weeks channel. And we are going to have a special about 15 minutes at the end of the show for our ad-free shows, Top Guys. You can sign up. You got some time to slide into that one yet. Sign up over at adfreeshows.com. And we are getting lessons from everybody now. Bobby knows how to say it. I want to say hello to Ross and Amber. And, of course, a big happy 14th birthday tomorrow to Caleb Henney. That's our top guy, Josh's son. And now that we got all that out of the way, let's talk about our fabulous folks here. Steve Kaufmann, you were at Cauliflower Alley Club this week with some of the ad-free shows crew. Eric, you didn't make the trip down for this one?
I never get invited.
Ooh.
Oh.
I didn't know
Fuck
that
those
part.
guys. I could care less. Fuck them.
No offense to Steve, but I feel like if he could slide in there, they probably would have been happy to see you too.
Well, they didn't give me an award. They gave Jeff Jarrett an award.
You know what? Now I'm glad that I don't get invited.
See, this is where you would have come in and put over ad-free shows, Steve.
Let me guess. Jimmy Hart was the MC.
Yeah.
Oh!
Beans and taters, baby.
It's the same reason why I'm not going to go. Guess what? My 50th high school reunion is coming up.
Whoa.
And I'm not going. Because here's what's going to happen. I haven't been to a high school. Well, actually, I went to maybe the first or second year. Yeah, because there was this like really hot girl by the name of Gloria, and every year at the class reunion, never mind. Don't want to go there.
Oh, well, Gloria will be very disappointed, I'm sure.
But after like the first and second year, I never went to another one. And because I know if I go to my high school reunion, I'm going to see people that in my mind, I still picture them like the last time I saw them. High school, maybe, a year or two after, whatever. And I'm going to look at them and go, motherfucker, you look old and sick. I'm going to know they're going to say the same thing about me. So I'm not going.
Hell no.
I'm not going. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to keep.
Say, Eric, you have to look so much better than everybody else.
But that's true. But I'm used to that. I love trying to be elegant. It's harder now, but no, it's a head fuck when you go and you have people in your mind and you go, and then you see them, oh, it's horrible. So I'm just going to skip the whole thing.
I mean, how many people?
Scary zombies.
How many people are in any Hall of Fames in your graduating class? I bet Gloria's not in the Hall of Fame.
She should be, by the way. Just saying. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Does Gloria have any daughters?
Whew.
I think they're probably out of your age range too, G Herm.
We
Does
haven't
Gloria
stayed
have
in
any
con- we
granddaughters?
haven't stayed in contact.
So it
This
sounds
is
like George
horrible.
wants you to go to your 50th high school reunion just to get him a date
It is.
with
Let's
Gloria's
move on.
I'll be your
daughters.
wingman, George.
You can always be my wingman.
All right, let's get serious now. This is silliness.
Serious. Oh, how perfect. Perfect. Seriously. Haha, Jackson agrees. Let's get serious. Seriously, Eric, if it's about the money, I understand, but I'll bet it's a bet. I'd like my whiskey. Okay, haha, Jackson, obviously in on the party and maybe having a spot of whiskey here with us tonight. So let's just say howdy hello to haha, Jackson.
Yeah, because I don't understand that one at all.
I'm trying to get
Does
there.
that make a lick of sense to any of y'all? I don't get it.
I just like whiskey. Anytime we get to talk about it, that's cool.
Yeah, I think that's haha, Jackson's way of saying Thirsty Thursday, y'all. Whoop, whoop.
Go for
The
it.
implication of the sentence is that you somehow owe him whiskey for a bet. So do you know a haha Jackson? He's going to have to chime back in on the chat because we're a little lost.
Yeah, me too.
There you go.
All right, let's move on. What's next?
Yes.
So, I mean, keeping on the subject of Dean Malenko, right?
We
Malenko.
were just talking about whiskey. We weren't talking about Dean Malenko.
Well, I was getting
Damn, you were
serious for a
7
moment.
minutes behind on that
Yeah, no,
transition.
but I'm just saying. It's just like, well, let's get serious. So, Malenko is always serious. And one thing that was absolutely serious with his dad was this video called the Plan B video. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Where Professor Boris exposes the business with
Oh,
Bob
yes.
Roop and several others.
Yeah,
Wow,
Conrad, mention
you
that.
know, you know what? I remember hearing about that, but I've never seen it, and I completely forgot that it existed until just now. Wow. That's weird.
That's what I'm here for.
And Adam, it is available on YouTube for everybody who wants to tune
What's
in
it
to check
called,
out, right?
Adam? What's it called?
The Plan B. I'm gonna text you a link. Yeah, absolutely. It's
You
No,
might
I
have
mean,
to,
for our
like-
listeners, too. We
Yeah.
Yeah,
want
no.
them
We're gonna have a tweet.
I
and
believe-
everything up.
So the title is the infamous 1979 Plan B video. That's how you'll find it on the YouTubes.
And while you're out there poking around, there was a news story that was done in Florida, wherever his dad's school was, that shows like a young Sean Waltman, young Gangrel, and Dean even too from way back then that is also floating around out there on YouTube. So I think you guys would like to take that in as well.
I like that kind of stuff, though. I like going back and seeing guys when they were just breaking into the business. It's fun.
Well, yeah,
You know what's
nowadays we
fun?
see every second of everyone's life. We don't
Do you
have
know what's
good
really
footage for
fun?
it.
One of the, and I know this is completely off track, and I apologize, but I don't.
Dear channel.
Do you guys watch The Voice?
Not recently. I'm familiar.
Not since they got rid of Xtina.
That show is so good. It is so well done. I am so impressed with the storytelling and the emotion and the way the emotion is controlled. I just think it is one of the most well-produced shows on television right now. I'm not a music fan. I mean, I'm like everybody else. I like it, driving down the road. I like listening to music, but I don't like, study it, or I'm not an expert of any kind. I just like music. It puts me in a good mood sometimes. But man, when I watch that show and you learn about the backstory and you see the family or friends or combination of both cheering them on, and you hear the emotion or feel the emotion in the performance, and then you're, what are the judges going to do? And that's a whole another level of entertainment because the interaction with them is so good. Chemistry is really, really good. And so much of it is improv, which makes it more fun. Anyway.
Yes, but Eric, you point out, they tell great stories, get us to really know the contestants. The glaring issue there is that they have not been able to produce a huge star. Once someone is done on the season, no one seems to really care too much about them or the music that they're making anymore. They're essentially not putting their contestants over. Maybe are they putting the show over more? Is there something they could do to make sure that people don't forget about the contestants the next year? It's an issue that they've had. And one that American Idol had as well.
But there have been some stars. Again, I'm not an expert. Don't want to try to pretend that I am. But there have been some stars that have been born out of, excuse me, music competition shows. So can't say it's never happened. But here's where I throw in the towel, tap out, is I don't know the music business. I don't know the process. I don't know. There's too much I don't know about the industry to make comment as to how or why these people who are getting, and first of all, they are so freaking talented. It's mind numbing. And why they're not getting further along and leapfrogging into their careers off of these shows, I'm not sure I understand. But again, I think that might have a lot to do with just the infrastructure of the industry.
Do you think a show like that can happen in wrestling, where it's like, you have the chair turned around, a couple guys, cut a promo or something like that, and then you turn around?
I mean, we're kind of getting there. I think we're already there in a very loose kind of way. It's all about social media and 5-star matches and who's the internet talking about, who controls the narrative on the internet. We're already there. You just don't know it yet, or you know it, you just don't recognize it quite as much because it's not as obvious. But we're living in that world already.
Yeah, I think on any given night, you could probably find whoever cut a promo 3 responses from some veterans on Twitter or wherever it may be giving their opinion on said promo, right? But I think the idea of a Tough Enough meets The Voice is kind of an interesting concept, right? And maybe I would be a huge fan of them bringing Tough Enough back in any regard, but maybe that's the way that they can do it. Spice it up a little bit.
I don't know. It's always fun to think about doing something like that, and I have many times. But I think what happens is that in the process of developing a competition reality show, competition elimination is the format that's referred to in TV in this type of format, where you get 15 people in a room, they're all competing for the grand prize, whatever that is. It's all the same thing. It's competition elimination. Once the focus becomes on the competition and the elements that make a good competitor, because you'd have to break that down, right? You'd have to teach the audience in order to engage them, just like The Voice does. They engage the audience through the personal backstories. I mean, some of these backstories, I watched the second episode last night with Miss B, and I mean, I had tears in my eyes. I mean, it was just so compelling, the stories, and then the performance. As I said, it's just really, really emotional. And they do such a great job of managing the emotions of the audience throughout the entire episode. It's phenomenally produced. But part of that is getting to know the competitor and understanding the process. When you listen to the judges on The Voice, they break down the reasons for their decisions in pretty great detail. So if you're kind of interested in music, you're getting a lot of information there. And I think if you did that same thing in wrestling, you would take one of the most important elements out of wrestling, which is the emotion and the good versus evil. Once you take out the good versus evil and you replace it with the best technical performance, I think it takes what makes wrestling work completely out of the equation and becomes something else.
I also think competition shows like that, when they crown somebody, whether it's The Voice or American Idol or even Tough Enough, the attempt is to try to leapfrog a business, and businesses don't like leapfrogging.
No, and actually, I did it. I did a competition elimination professional wrestling show. Hulk Hogan's Celebrity Championship Wrestling.
Right.
I did it. And by the way, it was a really well done show. I mean, it really was. It may not have had the best casts and all that, but Hulk Hogan's Celebrity Championship Wrestling, I think, did a great job of. If you go back and find it, watch it.
I'm looking right now. It looks like possibly you can buy the episodes on Amazon. Other than that, it doesn't appear to be streaming anywhere. And I'm guessing you would know if it was.
It was a CMT show. But if you can find those episodes, if you go back and watch those episodes, it was great storytelling. And we did the best, I mean, if I do say so myself, but we did the best we could of trying to blend the behind the scenes aspect of what makes a great performance with the emotion of what drives the audience that likes wrestling. I think we did one of the better jobs of doing that, presenting that in that format. But it's just the wrestling audience, they'll watch it because everybody's interested in, behind the curtain, but they're not compelled by it. It's not that good. It's not that entertaining for a wrestling audience because it's taking away that underlying reason of why you watch it. This bad guy hates this good guy and vice versa. And I relate to that person. And I want to see who wins, even though, it's scripted.
Well, I see on IMDb here, one of the stars of that was Bubba the Love Sponge, who I know you didn't care too much for on a personal level. What was your experience?
He may have made one appearance. I don't think he was a star.
He wasn't on it enough to agitate you?
I don't remember him at all, actually. But if he was, it was an appearance, a brief appearance, because he was working with Howard Stern at the time, so we could basically pimp him out.
Love that.
Get some free radio.
Steve, you seem like you're going to say something.
Oh no,
I stunned you guys.
We're all stunned. I think we were all having a Canadian standoff where we're all waiting for somebody else to say something. I was going to ask, do you happen to know who has the streaming rights to that show? And if we could buy them.
How does that work?
We could buy them and try to make a nickel.
I don't. We produced it for CMT. They bought it. They paid for it. And what they did with it after that, I have no idea.
Do you think
it could actually be kind of good because I think Dustin Diamond, and he's no longer with us. He was a part of that show.
Mm-hmm. Dennis Rodman, the guy that won the show.
Dennis Rodman walked away with it, but Danny Bonaducci was a part of it.
I was a big fan of big crush on Trishelle from the Real World.
Oh, Trishelle Canatella.
Trishelle was sweet. She was such a sweetheart, and she really wanted to win. You know who else was really, really fun to work with that I was so shocked? Because when we cast the show, you got to imagine, we're casting a bunch of, respectfully, because I'm a D-lister at this point in my career, but we're casting like B and C listers, right? For the show. It's not like we're going to get A-level talent to be a part of this reality show. And somebody said, we need to get Aaron Murphy. I said, who the fuck is Aaron Murphy? I don't even know who Aaron Murphy is. And whoever it was a casting director or somebody said, no, it's, the little girl on Bewitched. Yes. The little girl on Bewitched wants to be a wrestler? Mm-hmm. I grew up watching a little girl on Bewitched. And she twinkled her little fucking nose and she was so cute. It was awesome. That's Aaron Murphy. And she had so much heart and she worked so hard. And we follow each other on social media now. She's such a sweetheart. She's a really, really good person. But she had like 5 or 6 kids at the time. I mean, she was a busy mother and active with all of her kids. But man, she dug in. She worked her ass off. She was great. Go back and watch it. You get a kick out of it.
Do you think something like that can work today, especially with, you had Action Bronson have a match on Rampage. You had the guy from Arrow have a match like a few years ago. Like, do you think that can work today?
No. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I mean, I said this last week jokingly, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but Action Bronson or Acton Bronson, whatever. I wouldn't know him if he.
I don't know who he is either.
I have no idea. I mean, it's like, somebody, a C-lister on a new series that nobody's ever heard of. Oh, he's a big star. I don't know. Maybe he is a big star. I'm so out of touch. I don't know. I'm old. Fuck.
Okay, well, that being said, the folks that you had on the show at the time were pretty big stars. without, maybe telling us exact numbers, because I know that would be a little tacky, would you say that they got paid well to do that show? I'm sure it was a lot for them, physically, emotionally, mentally.
I mean, I think it's all relative. I don't mind talking about all this stuff has been made public, so it's not like I'm giving away any trade secrets here. So who are you referring to?
Right. So how about like a Danny Bonaducci? He seems like someone who was doing a lot of that kind of stuff at the time.
They didn't get paid that much. I mean, even that reality show had a budget of $750,000 an hour, which was at that time on the high end of 1 hour. But it was because of the nature of the show. And, Hulk Hogan was attached to it. And, it's an expensive show.
Okay, so a Danny Bonaducci maybe considerably less than a Dennis Rodman.
No, I'm just thinking about how much did Danny get. I'm guessing he probably got like $3,000 to $5,000 an episode. Is my guess.
And on a competition show like this, is it important that number is even among all the competitors, or you're going to pay whatever you can to get who you can?
No, everybody's different. Talent understands that. Actors and actresses that have worked in Hollywood understand and accept it and work within that world. So, it doesn't always mean it's easy, and it doesn't mean you don't have to have some conversations with agents, primarily, not with the talent. Agents and attorneys every once in a while get a little bitchy, but it's manageable.
But Dennis Rodman probably made double a Danny Bonaducci, if we had to guess.
Oh, I would think probably more than that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Breaking Bonaducci was a pretty big show at that time.
Yeah.
It was a well-produced show. Well, let's move on a little bit, but Chris Stone has a question about that kind of TV programming nowadays. He says, given the success of all the streaming services, could you see a Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon, etc., do an exclusive wrestling promotion?
Yeah, I kind of could. I kind of could. When the news of AEW first broke and the rumors about a deal with Turner first surfaced, and somebody asked me my opinion as to whether or not I thought going to Turner would be a good idea for AEW, I of course said sure. I mean, in television, great. But if I were in Tony Khan's position, given the resources that he has, I'd be looking 5 years ahead, and I'd be more focused on a streaming platform than I would be on a television platform. Because he who gets there first usually wins. And to create a wrestling company specifically for a streaming platform, given the loyalty of the audience and the size of the audience, I kind of thought that might have been a better long-term strategy. So yeah, I would focus on streaming. I think streaming is a great opportunity, and I think if somebody came along with the resources and the patience that said, hey, let's do that, I think there's an opportunity there. Because I think, look, those, up until about 18 months ago, Netflix could do no wrong, right?
Yeah.
The word on the street with the people that I talk to that are in the business of selling shit is like Netflix is just buying everything. You get a couple decent people attached to a project, they're going to buy it. They're just going to buy it. They were buying everything. And then their stock hit the tank. And all of a sudden, things are different now. And these streaming platforms, because there's so many more of them and the competition is getting serious, they're going to need tonnage. Tonnage is volume. And that's one thing that wrestling provides is tonnage. It may not be the most attractive tonnage. It's not like PGA golf. You're not selling Rolexes and Mercedes and super high dollar advertisers, but you're selling middle America. You're selling middle America advertisers, and that's where the money is. So I think there's a great play there. It'll be interesting to see who capitalizes on it. Obviously, WWE is in the best position.
And it's a matter of like, if you're Amazon, do you want to sell 10,000 T-shirts or do you want to sell one Rolex? And if you're Amazon, you kind of want to sell both.
Yeah, you just sell everything.
Yeah, like I've long held that Amazon is one of the best possible partners for that because they own the operating system on the TV, so that when you're watching the show and then the wrestler is selling a T-shirt or holding a belt or anything in between, they have the point of sale built into the operating system, built into the TV, built into the button. That their point of sale is faster than anybody else's.
And also built into the distribution and the fulfillment. Because the fulfillment, that's where, for example, if I owned a company and I licensed WWE merchandise, let's say I make T-shirts, and I've got a WWE license for those T-shirts. I have to buy the T-shirts. I have to handle the printing, and I'm either selling them however I'm selling them. But I have to figure out that distribution. That's one of the most expensive components of a business model, is the distribution. If you can't control your own distribution, you're kind of at the mercy of somebody else's, which means you're not in control of your business. Amazon controls their distribution. That's the key. And I think not only because of the tonnage, the eyeballs, and the reach of Amazon and WWE combined, but the fact that Amazon can handle all of the fulfillment, which means it's way more efficient than going through a third-party licensor or licensee. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. I can see that. That'd be awesome.
Right?
Because everybody makes more money.
Because WWE has impressed the industry for a long time that John Cena can have a shirt debut on Sunday and people can get it shipped to them by Wednesday.
Who else can do that?
Amazon can get it to your door by Monday. Wow. And they're the only other company that could even remotely compete.
That's crazy to think about.
That specificity.
That's crazy to think about. It's cool.
And we could assume that if anyone was looking at doing something like that, Eric, they would look at the pro wrestling world and who are the executives out there, the former presidents, who could help us figure out how to do this. I could only assume that you would be getting a phone call. Would you like to consult? Would you like to come work for us?
Nope.
Do you want to just go grab a beer and tell us how you would do this?
Nope.
That sounds like it would be exciting for you. But you're getting excited. I
would just tell them to tune into this show every Thursday night. They get all the education they need right here.
Speaking of marketing, we saw I don't know if you saw, there's like a movie called Smile. Kind of creepy looking, but we kind of saw like on the weekend some fans, they were kind of sitting right behind home plate and they were just not moving. They were just looking at the camera and just smiling just for like the whole game. Do you think something like that can work for maybe wrestling? Let's say Tony Khan maybe buy some AEW. It doesn't have to be the wrestlers. Just buy, whatever the thing in front of the home plate, where they're going to get TV time instead of buying commercials for whatever. Just get AEW shirts. Just sit behind home plate and just rock the T-shirt all over TV all game long. Would that work, or do you think that would work?
I think it's good. I mean, I think it could. Right? That's an example of kind of guerrilla marketing, right? Just at a little higher level. It'll work until somebody sees what they're doing, and then it won't work anymore. It's no different than somebody showing up at a WWE event promoting or marketing something at a WWE event, and Kevin Dunn sitting in the truck going, "Hey, no, get that sign out of here." So yeah, it would work for a minute until it didn't, but it'd be a cool idea.
I actually saw all of this, the things that happened in the MLB space and what have you. And I actually thought they were, egregiously borrowing from the WWE. There was a pandemic pay-per-view where they had zombies to promote Batista's zombie movie. There was an egg with Vince McMahon to promote a Rock movie and what have you. So I saw this piece of business and I was like, they're copying wrestling.
Probably. God, they should, right? Because, it's fucking baseball. Come on. You got to do something to make it interesting. At least NASCAR. See that little fucker, that little tiny midget that got into a NASCAR fight? I think it was last weekend. I saw a clip of the show. This little guy, he's just a little tiny guy. Gets all pissed off, tears his helmet off, he's trying to punch it through the window of a car, hitting the guy that's wearing a helmet. It's just funny to watch. It's just wrestling. That's all it is. Everything is wrestling.
First you badmouth Taco Bell, and now you're going to badmouth baseball? How dare you?
Baseball and NASCAR.
He takes no
I don't-
prisoners.
I don't think we're going to hear from anyone who listens to this show. I think we're good.
They're all pussies. Nope.
Well,
Okay.
I kind of want to spin it back to the Man of 1,000 Holds, right? There was a lot of
Yes,
things.
please do at this point, please.
Malenko.
There was a lot of things that he did right, at least in my optics. But like the top 3 things that Dean did, the kind of tightening of the wrists, the way he did a drop toe hold, and I think the way that he grabbed the ropes to kind of evade you in an Irish rope situation. Did you have any moves that are reminiscent of like the greatness of Dean, or was it just the overall ass kicking presence that he brought to the table?
That's a great question. And when I think about Dean, as you were asking me that question, the image that popped into my head was Dean coming down the aisle. His best move was letting everybody know when he came through the curtain that he was deadly fucking serious. He didn't care if you applauded him. He didn't care if you booed him. He didn't even care if you were there. He just wanted to get business done in the ring. I believe every breath he took from the beginning, which is coming through the curtain, until the end. That's what I think about when I think about Dean Malenko. And I can't think of anybody else in the industry that makes me feel the same way I feel when I watch Dean Malenko. Doesn't mean I don't enjoy watching other people. I think Randy Orton is, in our lifetimes, Randy Orton is going to be, we're going to look back at Randy Orton and go, holy shit, when we knew he was great, but we didn't know he was that great. He's the most fluid, effortless. He's a Stradivarius. If wrestling was a violin, he's a Stradivarius. He's just amazing. But, man, Dean made me believe. He just did. Like nobody else.
The Man of 1,000 Holds. Nicholas Blake says, hi, Eric. He wants to know, how did Dean get the nickname Man of 1,000 Holds? Is that something Dean came up with, or you, or someone else? Did he have that already when you were bringing him in?
Don't know. Could have been Kevin Sullivan. Could have been Dean himself. Could have been, who knows? It wasn't me. I give credit where credit is due, and I'll take shit when I need to. But that one wasn't me. It was perfect for D because he was all about wrestling. He was a serious businessman. His business was wrestling, and he was serious about his business. So it was perfect for him. It really was.
Coach Rosie wanted to chime in and mention Coach Rosie, who ran the ad-free shows table at Cauliflower Alley. I was in and out. Coach Rosie was the MVP of that whole week. He wanted to let you know that a bunch of people were asking about you there. So you'd be more
they're
than
probably
welcome
asking if I
invited.
was still alive. Is that Bischoff still alive? What is he doing? He's deader than Kelsey's nuts. Heard he's got a YouTube show.
It's a good one.
I don't know who Kelsey is.
Or Kelsey. Nuts are dead.
All right, from Dean Malenko to
Very
one.
rarely do these shows when I'm having a beer. I try not to because who knows where they're going to go, but this one's kind of fun.
This is excellent. This is
Yes.
perfect banter.
100%.
Also, we encourage that anytime. I'm sure this young lady would be happy to have a brewski with you. Beyond the Script podcast wants to know what you think of Paige in AEW. He says, this is Madden's Elite, by the way. Welcome back, sir. Did you catch Soraya's promo last night? Have you tuned into Dynamite yet, or?
No, I haven't. I might tonight because I'm home alone, just me and Nikki. Those of you who are new to the show, that's my dog. But I may tonight, but no, I didn't see it, so I can't comment. I just know she's a sweetheart. I wish her the best. I hope it all works out for her, but I haven't seen it, so I can't comment.
So
Well, she herself admitted that she felt a little rusty. It's been a while since she's been out there in front of a live crowd. I thought she pulled it off quite well. So we'll see
Good.
maybe next week what you had to think.
And
Yeah.
it takes, it's a brand new environment. Not only, ring rust, whatever. Even though she didn't wrestle, did she?
No.
She didn't. No, she hasn't gotten physical.
So she's go out and cut a promo.
She held together a pretty long segment with multiple people leading into a match. They put a lot on her.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too bad because it's too much for the audience. When you bring somebody in like her, how do you say her name? I don't want to get it wrong.
Soraya. Oh,
Soraya.
I got it wrong.
Saraya.
All right, I've heard two different pronunciations from my panel here. Saraya. All right.
Soraya.
So if you bring in someone out like Saraya, who everybody knows, she's got a high Q factor, very recognizable within the industry, all that. You want the focus to just be on her and let us know why she's here. Or at least let us hear what she has to say about the opportunity. Whatever it is. But mixing it up with a bunch of other issues and people and focus, whatever. I give up.
I mean, she made it.
Have at it.
It's
a brilliant idea, Tony. You're Booker of the Year 3 times in a row for sure.
I think she lost me. I think she lost me when she was like, "Ooh, Brit, your name rhymes with shit," and I was like, "Oh, you lost me."
Did she
But
say
they
that?
blanked it
Yes, she
out.
did.
She said that.
They have blanked out the swear words. We didn't see blood again. Well, very teeny weeny little bit.
I think
And no
Oscar
mentions
did.
of
Okay, so here's what
WWE.
you
Again,
guys
it's a
need to
cleaner
know.
show.
Here's what you guys need to know. That little data point. Those data points. No longer seeing blood. Verbiage is audio is getting censored.
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell you? What does that tell you guys? This is, okay, now I'm Professor Eric. Class? Here are the circumstances. Here are the data points. What could one infer from this data? How would you analyze this
An
particular data?
external force has asked them to tone down their product.
That's obvious, Mr. Kaufmann.
Pressure.
But if you want to get a C in this class, you have to tell me why that would happen. Because why is always the most important question.
Advertisers.
There's perhaps concern that they will lose advertisers.
Because advertisers are putting pressure on TBS. Because advertisers aren't comfortable with the product when there's a lot of swearing and a lot of blood, which gets a bunch of little basement-dwelling 18 to 49-year-olds jerking off, and everybody loves it because it's so gnarly. But guess what? Advertisers don't. And I've been talking about this for how many years now that we've been doing this show? A while. You've got to cater to your advertisers. And that's what's happening. Now, here's the problem. It's okay. You're faced with it. You got to adjust to it. But when the network starts editing your show for you, the next step is they're going to start writing it with you.
Ooh.
Beginning of the end. See ya.
I mean, I think some of us would agree that AEW could benefit from having some writers.
Not like that. You don't
want a network.
You do not want wrestling television executives, no matter how talented they are or what else they've done in their life or their careers, coming in and trying to figure out the wrestling product. And because to understand the wrestling product, which looks really pretty simple to people who aren't familiar with the business, it looks very rudimentary. It's just simple. Big guys, bad guys, good guys, violence, spit, swear, yell. It's very basic looking, but there's so much psychology to it. And the audience, the wrestling audience has been watching wrestling since the beginning of fucking television time. For generations, you've got wrestling audience that's generations old, second, third in some cases, that are currently watching the product that have been conditioned to certain things. Doesn't mean you can't recondition them or introduce new ideas, but if you just completely ignore what the audience has become accustomed to because they've been watching it for so long, because they're so loyal, if you just go in a different direction because you don't really understand it, you're DOA. You're going to run yourself into a brick wall. That's the challenge. The art, the solution is to find a middle ground. You know, be open to working with your network, but be able to stay in control. But when you start doing things that makes it hard for them to sell your show, and they can't sell advertising that justifies the amount of money they're paying for your show, that's when you have a problem.
Well, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say about this week's episode of Dynamite, because it was certainly action-packed. But our live viewers are talking about the Triple A show, the Triple A show that is just popped up. It's going to be here in the United States in Tempe, Arizona on December 3rd. Oh, Phoenix. Is that a suburb of Phoenix? Okay, I don't know my Arizona geography, and I won't pretend to. Tempe,
Arizona.
But Eric,
some of the best bars in the planet are in Tempe. Is where the university or ASU is, Arizona State University. Some of the craziest, wildest, if I was in my 20s, bars are right there. So
noted. So are you expecting?
I'm gonna go.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm going. I want to see it.
That was my question.
Well, then there it is.
Love it.
Let's get to two quick ones from Micmac, which apparently we caused some controversy well over the pond in Australia by how we pronounced Geelong.
It's Geelong. I don't give a fuck how they pronounce it in Australia. I don't live in Australia, muckerfather.
Apparently,
we were here in Cody, Wyoming, and I'll pronounce it how the fuck I want. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
You can't even get out of Australia.
Micmac says, have you been to Walo Malo Managatang? Is how I'm pronouncing that. Can somebody help me? Woolaloo.
Woo ting tang wada wada bing bang.
Yeah, you can get there in 2 hours.
That's where that song. That's where that came from.
Yeah, that's what I feel like it would be. Dave Seville, right?
No, I have not. Micmac, I have not been to Woolamulu Manangatang.
I feel like he spelled that in a way to trip us up. He
That
also
would be difficult.
he also wants to convince you to watch the 1982 Western called Man from Snowy River.
I think I've seen it.
It's Kirk Douglas.
No, I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Then there it is. Then asked and answered, Micmac.
Yep.
There you go.
Maybe not one of his faves. All right, let's get to this one from Brett's Groovy Chainsaws. Eric, when you were the GM of Raw, why was there mostly tag team main events during that time? You know, considering the fact that you were not a huge fan of tag team wrestling, was that a bit of a rib on you while you were there? Put over this main event, Bischoff.
Holla, holla, holla.
If it was a rib on me, it didn't work because I did not give a fuck. I looked at what they wanted me to do. I did it the best I could, and I cashed my check, and I did the same thing week after week after week for about 5 years or whatever it was. So I was good with it, man. There was no emotional investment in me whatsoever beyond my performance.
Also, if I could propose,
this was awesome, by the way.
Right? If I could propose a booking answer, most of your tenure as Raw general manager, the top act were Evolution, which was a group. So that would probably have something to do with it. That you don't want Triple H to have a singles match every night, so you put a bunch of guys with him, so you have a bunch of guys in the main event. That's my guess. I might be off.
No, that sounds brilliant.
Speaking of a tag team match, were you one of the ones that was blocked by Teddy Long on Twitter?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Had some Twitter problems.
Me and Teddy are tight. We're tight. We used to have so much fun together. I drank a fair amount of margaritas with Teddy Long.
Let's ask this one from Laid Back, because I think
Casa
there's a lot
Gallardo.
here.
We used to drink in a place called Casa Gallardo. It was this Mexican restaurant. And when I first moved to Atlanta and I'm working with WCW, Mrs. B and I only had one car. So she'd drive me to work to the CNN Center and drop me off. And then on Friday nights, because Teddy Long and I did like, we batted cleanup. So we got the worst of the shit. So we worked all day Friday. Friday night, we get done together. Teddy would drive. Teddy was on his way home. We would meet at a place called Casa Gallardo, which is halfway to Teddy's house, and Mrs. B would meet me there when I'd call her. But usually Teddy and I would get there for about an hour and a half before I'd call Mrs. B. So by the time she got there, I had like 2 of these gigantic margaritas. They were so good. We had fun.
Was that while you were competing GMs, or is this a different time?
No, that was
said it-
WCW.
Oh,
No,
okay, you
this is
said Atlanta.
WCW.
In
Way back
my
the
in my
day.
head, I want you guys to have relived that at least once while you were competing GMs, just to blow a high schooler's mind if they walked into that restaurant. What? No,
Holla, holla.
brand supremacy's a lie.
Well, here is something that would definitely blow some minds, but I think there's more to this question here. Laid Back wants to know, Eric, would you ever make a reality show with Vince McMahon? Here's what I want to know. Do you think Vince is itching to get back into the production world? Do you think that we're going to see some kind of Vince McMahon production in the future?
I don't know. I don't know Vince well enough on a real personal level to predict anything. I doubt it. I mean, just putting myself, or I think any of us, putting ourselves in the shoes of a 77-year-old guy that's got a couple $1 billion. It's been pretty much busy, his entire life. I think I would find some other shit to do. And don't get this wrong, but there's something really liberating about walking away from all that. It's nice to walk away from all that. When you've been doing it your whole life, and you're under that microscope, and you're on TV, and you look at what Vince has done over the last 25 or 30 years. I can just imagine that for him, it's like, fuck it, I'm going to go do some other fun shit now. Yeah. But I don't know him well enough to know. Would I do a show with him? Absolutely. How much fun would that be? That would be fun. And it would end up that we would fight. Eventually, it would end up there, right? It would have to.
All right,
well,
we can have fun with their fantasy booking on that one.
Pillows.
Yeah, like a reality show fight, or one of those Triller make some money fights.
Oh no, it'd have to be a stupid, like something you'd see on E! Network or something.
I'm in.
Hold me back.
Hold me back, Vince. Hold me back,
bro.
All right, we love that. Well, guys, we have got a lot more. This party is going to continue raging on. We've got more good questions from you. We are going to play a round of Hungry or Thirsty and more at our special after show only for the ad-free shows folks over there. So go sign up at adfreeshows.com and come join our special after party. If you've joined us on the 83 Weeks channel, we really appreciate you. We do this Thursdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Please come join us live and bring your questions for Eric. And on that note, we will see you all next week. Top guys, stay tuned for more. Adios.
Bye, Hollywood Steve.
Be right back.
I don't think I've ever played Hunt.